A couple of days ago, I came home from a work meeting and was unpleasantly surprised to find my husband's ex-wife wandering around the house, fresh out of the shower, with only a towel wrapped around her body. I felt absolutely hysterical, though I didn't show it. She had the keys because her daughter, who is also my husband's daughter, spends more time at our house than at hers, so she occasionally comes to visit her. This time, I didn't hold back. I demanded that she give me the keys and told her she wasn't allowed to come over while I was not home. My husband was asleep in the bedroom and had no idea that his ex-wife was even in the house. When I asked my stepdaughter why her mother had stayed, she simply said that she wasn't planning to leave until her dad woke up. My mind immediately interpreted that as an attempt at seduction. In short, I took away the house keys and told her that it wasn't necessary for her to come see her daughter on weekdays when my stepdaughter went to her house already on weekends. If she needed to come over for something important, she had to ask for permission. She called me crazy, but my husband backed me up, which was the only reason she eventually left without making a scene. Today, I started wondering if maybe I overreacted and handled things immaturely, but at the same time, I don't want her around my 4-month-old baby when I'm not home. Edit. To avoid more accusations, I checked the entire chronology of the cameras at home and my husband was sleeping with our baby all morning. He didn't even know she was home, but he was angrier than me when he saw her and even insisted that we report her relevant comments. Does the ex-wife comes by the house that often for a shower or something else? OP. She didn't usually come to the house much before, but lately she seems very concerned about being present in her daughter's life. And my stepdaughter wasn't that calm. In fact, she was the one who sent me a message saying that her mother was in home, although I never thought I would find her in a towel. According to my stepdaughter, she had come home from work to check on her and told she was going to take a shower without any other explanation. I checked some cameras and my husband had been taking care of and sleeping with our baby all morning. He didn't even notice she was home. Commenter 2. Why did she have keys in the first place? And how old is the daughter? Bigger question is why was the husband asleep and she was showering? Sounds suspect. Can't help but think you arrived after their activities. OP. She always had the keys in case of an emergency while we were traveling. My stepdaughter is 17 years old. And the last thing, my husband had spent the night awake at work, so he slept all day. Although I also thought like you at first, I immediately checked the cameras I have in some areas of the house to monitor my baby, including in the bedrooms. Commenter 3, NTA. You didn't overreact, but I would be suspicious of your husband. Might want to keep an eye on him. OP, I understand that concern, but my husband despises his ex-wife enough to the point that he hasn't reported her for the sake of their daughter. And anyway, I have some cameras in the house that I check whenever she comes over. Commenter 4. Was the house the husband and ex's at some point? OP, hi, yes. The house belonged to both of them before they divorced, although legally it always belonged only to my husband, but she lived with him. OP clarifies the details on how she met her husband. Was it during the time when her husband was married to the ex? OP, no, I met him when they had been divorced for about 11 years. But she did live there during their marriage. OP on her husband's custody battle with his ex over their daughter and if the ex is dangerous to the daughter. OP, before you judge, calmly ask for explanations. She and my husband had a legal battle for custody because she wanted to move to another state and wanted to take my stepdaughter without my husband's consent. It has been a long conflict because she literally almost kidnapped their daughter, and if it weren't for me acting as a mediator on occasions, he would have already sued her for it. She is not abusive, she wouldn't even try to be cause my stepdaughter lives with us most of the time and we would notice immediately if something happened with her. Now she has no intentions of taking her anywhere, of course, but that's why I spoke in the past tense all the time. Update, hi, it's me. The woman who found her husband's ex-wife in her house wearing a towel. I've seen that things have gotten pretty out of control, to the point where it's spread all over the internet, so I'm here to clear some things up and give some updates. First of all, we've changed all the locks, and although my stepdaughter has her own key, she's not going to risk losing her father's trust after the serious talk they had. After my husband started the process for a restraining order, his ex-wife's sister reached out to us. She told us that the ex-wife was feeling empty and threatened because of me. I'd been living with my husband in this house for 3 years, and she had never done anything like this before, so it seemed extremely strange to me that she would pull this kind of stunt right after I gave birth to my son. Anyway, my husband's ex-sister-in-law assured us that she was going to receive psychological treatment and that we could move forward with the restraining order. She just asked us to understand that the ex-wife seemed to be falling into some kind of depression that was preventing her from thinking clearly. As for why I feel so bad and why I haven't reacted more aggressively, I have an explanation. Since giving birth a few months ago, LVE felt slow, dumb, and a bit confused about everything. I never had serious trouble defending myself in English before, but now I do, and my emotions are all over the place, leaving me feeling distressed in any dramatic situation. To wrap things up, LD like to clarify a few points. 1. No, my husband has not cheated on me with the woman he's been having issues with for 11 years. I checked the security cameras, and he was asleep next to our child during the hour his ex-wife was showering downstairs. That bathroom is pretty far from the bedroom. 2. My stepdaughter was barely involved in her mother's plan. In fact, she was the one who alerted me that her mom was in the house and that she had no idea why. Normally, her mom would let her know before visiting, and only if my husband wasn't home. 3. Yes, that woman only did it to get under my skin and make herself feel better. Spoiler, she won't be coming near my family again. In any case, thank you for the support and all the advice. I'm glad to know that there are still understanding people who have stood by me in a moment when my emotions faltered and made me doubt myself. Top comments. Commenter 1, my guess is the birth of your son pushed her over. Until that point, she thought she had the upper hand because she and your husband had the bond of a shared child. In her mind, she was still the primary relationship and you were temporary. Now, you have the ring and a child and that blew up her fantasy. Go forward with the restraining order. Her mental health is on her to manage and she has her own relatives to support her through that. Commenter 2, NTA. That is absolutely a violation of privacy and scary. She's being a complete creep and needs to be put in her place, aka out of the picture. Commenter 3, I remember this post, glad you changed the locks. Although it's sad that the ex is having mental health struggles, you are not obligated to deal with her issues and need to follow through on the restraining order to avoid any potential harm to your family and new baby. Remember, this woman may not be thinking clearly, so again, not worth the risk.